welcome to Arts and Minds Online. For session 15, this is getting to be hard to believe. It seems a very long time ago that Arts and Minds, the program, was meeting in person. As a matter of fact, this is our anniversary month. We started Arts and Minds a year ago, last July. The Dementia Society of Ottawa, Renfrew County, started up this program for art activities for people with dementia and their caregivers. And we met with a small group as a pilot project that was successful. And then we just kept growing. And it was great. It was lots of fun to meet together. We all looked forward to those weekly sessions. But fortunately, we've been able to continue, although we would still like to be in person. We do have an opportunity to meet this way online. And as I say, this is our 15th session online. And we'll keep going until we can get back together again in person. So we're going to continue with our road trip across Canada. We're halfway through, halfway across the country. Doesn't take too long. Today we're in Manitoba, which is halfway. I think Winnipeg is considered the actual geographical center of Canada. So when I was thinking of what we could do for Manitoba, a number of things came to mind, as it does for all of the provinces. You know, we suppose we could have done a map of Canada with a little dot right in the middle of it to show that that was Manitoba. But anyway, to be serious, what I did decide was this time to do the floral emblem of a province. And this is the floral emblem of Manitoba. This is a prairie crocus. It seems that there used to be like vast fields of crocuses in Manitoba, very colorful, bright little things that pop up in the early spring, harbinger of good things to come after a long winter. Those fields apparently don't exist anymore. They've sort of lost their habitat. These crocuses, the fields have been taken over by cities, roads, farms, and there just aren't vast fields of them anymore. However, there still are crocuses, and it still is the emblem, the floral emblem of Manitoba. There are crocuses, of course, other places as well. We have some here in Ottawa, and we like to see them, particularly around the hills in front of Parliament, when they pop up through the snow in the early spring. But what I did not know was that there were different kinds of crocuses. I kept seeing these pictures of prairie crocuses, and I thought, well, that's not the kind of crocus I know. I know ones with little round petals and sort of little bud type flowers. That's a different kind of crocus, and not similar, but not the same as a prairie crocus. So that's what we're going to do today. Sort of the features of it, is, you know, of the prairie crocus is, I think they perhaps are a bit bigger, but they have sort of more open, pointy sort of jagged petals and a bigger round yellow center. And with all our other crocuses, and they just pop up out of the ground and just very low to the ground. This is why I've sort of shown, not very effectively, but showing that they are actually in the grass, practically on the ground. So this is what we're going to do today, the prairie crocus floral emblem of Manitoba. The materials that you will need, and these will be up on the screen. First, once you've decided on your medium, and as always, it can be whatever you have at hand. If it's watercolors, which is what this is, acrylic paints, colored pencils, crayons, whatever material you might have, you choose. And then because I'm doing watercolors, I'm using watercolor paper. Should also point out too, because you will always see this when I'm doing this, I always tape it down to keep it flat. Otherwise, the paper comes quite wet and sort of buckles. So you need to do that if you're doing watercolors. You need a pencil for your sketch. You're going to need a couple of brushes, one small one fairly large one, the paints that you're going to use, or the other medium, and colors for this. The prairie crocus crocuses that I've seen tend to be sort of purple, purples, deep reds, blues, and white as well. So those are the colors, and you'll need some green. And if you're using paint, I suggest, this is, you don't have to, but you'll see how this is used afterwards. I'm suggesting that this time you might also want to have a cotton swab. I use that for dabbing the center part. Those are the materials, and as I say, they'll be up on the screen, so take a minute and gather up what you need. Okay, all set to go with the prairie crocus. Here's our line drawing for today. I've just put in 3. I haven't drawn in the grass, and I would encourage you not to, because that's just kind of going to be free strokes, freely painted or drawn, so, or with crayon. So I don't think it's a good idea to draw them in. So I just did 3. You can do a whole field of crocuses if you wish, or as many as you like, but take time now to draw your crocuses. Okay, we're ready to paint. And I probably will just do 1 because it's the same, same technique all the way through. So I'll do this one. And we'll start with mixing up some purple. I'll use a bit of sort of a deep red and a blue and white, so I get it fairly dark. Yeah, there we go. Anyway, you can mix yours up. In the part that's the closest to the center, that's the darkest part. So start with making that really quite dark. And sort of pull it through like so. Okay. Now I'm going to clean that brush. Oh, I should have mentioned too, well, you would know by now to have a paper towel and some water. I'm going to just pull that so that it's lighter. And off into the point here. Maybe make this a little bit lighter down here as well. Okay, I'm just going to take my reference so I can see it. And I'll just continue with that. Again, I'm going to start in the middle, or I'm sorry, at the end here by the, that's not dark enough. Again, I'm using a deep red, sort of a rosy color, and ultramarine blue. So let me again just pull that a bit closer for you. And so I hope it's pointing right to the picture now. Go around and sort of highlight it, outline it almost. I'm going to clean that brush and pull it again so that I get lots of light parts showing. I'll probably come back to that and make that a bit darker after a bit. And I'll just continue with that 1. Mixing as I go, so all the petals might not be the same color. That's a darker, that's a nicer. I'll add it, I'll put a little on here, darken that up a bit. And again, clean my brush and pull it. You can get the same effect with using pencils, just blending the colors a little bit. I'd like a little lighter, so I've just cleaned the brush and I'm just going to take some of that paint off. Just with a clean, little bit wet brush. Okay. Darken it up a bit and we'll go again. Oh, now it's gotten very pink. There we go. Okay, just gonna leave that one because I kind of like the way it turned out, actually. Sometimes these things are happy accidents. Again, a little darker in spots there. And one more. This is awkward here. I'm running out of blue. Good thing we're not putting out a sky today. Okay, I quite like that effect. I'm just going to leave it. As you see on the reference, I left some sort of white parts showing on some of them too. Then I decided to add a bit of detail here and there. That's up to you. Okay, don't do the center just yet. So take a few minutes and paint each of the crocuses that you drew, okay? And then come back and we'll finish it off. Okay, ready to do the centers. And this is where I'm going to use the cotton swab. And I am going to just dip it in the water a bit just so that it doesn't, that's probably not necessary, but let's get a little bit paint on that. And then I'm just going to sort of dab. It's like little tiny spots. Hope you can see that. Those are not all solid, just kind of spots of it. If you don't have a cotton swab, it doesn't matter. You could do that with, with just the tip of the brush as well. But I kind of liked to do it that way. So maybe you should take a minute and do each of the centers of yours and come back. Okay, how are your prairie crocuses looking? Good enough to be the floral emblem of Manitoba, anyway. Okay, we're going to do the grass, and I mentioned, I advised you not to draw the grass if you're painting. I think it's nicer to just sort of free flow with this, and I'm going to use a bit of yellow and a bit of a sort of light green. Right? And then, if I can do this sort of on an angle like this, just to go like this. Okay? Just some, not a lot of fun, just grass. You can see it's better to probably check the reference with this one because it's more of it. Quite a bit of it, because the crocuses are growing on the ground, right in the grass, so it has to look that way. Should add a bit of just green, a little darker, get some darker greens in there as well, and you might even want to go even darker, a little bit of blue, just a little bit darker, like that. And I'm just coming up, cut from up from the bottom and then up to a point just to make grass. Okay, there we go. That's done. And that's the prairie crocus, the floral emblem of Manitoba. And just before we leave, we will be back next week. We'll be going to Saskatchewan and then eventually out to the west, to the western provinces. We did receive some photos of work that people have done, and I'm pretty sure that Herman is going to put 2 or 3 of those up. I think there's a couple from Quebec and one from our Ontario picture. Really great stuff. So we really encourage you to send photos of what you've done with whatever medium. We'd like to see different medium that you're using. So we really appreciate getting that, and or even just getting a comment from you. So that would be fun. And the way to do that, it will also be up on the screen at the end. So that's it for today. We're leaving Manitoba. We're packing up the van, and heading out to Saskatchewan. So see you next time. In the meantime, take good care.